This meeting is being recorded.
Feedback.
And then we'll put it on the website.
Okay.
Just like last time, which is how I got to see it. So. Yeah, I can do that. I know what you mean. All right, well, we'll at least start it with introductions and stuff. I'm Roxanne. I am the president of the Brain Injury Network of Northern Michigan. I wasn't able to be here in July. I apologize for that. Kyle took over for the intros and stuff, which I greatly appreciated. We will, like I said, have a chance to go around and say where you're from and anything that's different with your company or with you. I think one of the major differences that anybody who's received an email from me recently is that I am no longer with Neuro Restorative. I am now part of the AdvisaCare family. So it's kind of been a big change for me. Yeah, but it's only been a few weeks, so we're moving strong. But I do want to have us go around the room here, and then we'll kind of call off people. And then when you can just kind of give a description of who you are. I know we've got some new members here who haven't necessarily been to meetings before, so I think that's great. Kyle, do you want to kind of at least pop your head in and say who you are?
I'm Kyle. I'm an occupational therapist at Life Beyond Barriers Rehab Group, and I'm also vice president of the board. In terms of new happenings, just want to let everybody know that we are at Life Beyond Barriers Rehab Group offering a caregiver support group that is now virtual and happening on the 4th Wednesday of October 28th, 4 to 5. If anybody would like more information on that, please send me an email. You can use the vice president at Brain Injury Network, and I can give you more information, but it is also on our website and on our Facebook as well. So I will step back.
I am Steve Perkis. I am with CRC Technology for Independence. I am also the treasurer and webmaster. I wasn't orange. Somebody...
Again? Can you mute whoever that caller is?
I am the webmaster and treasurer for the network.
Okay, so Sandy, do you want to go next?
I'm Sandy Smith from E3 Case Managers. I'm also a member at large for Brain Injury Network of Northern Michigan and on the outreach and education committees.
And I'm going to kind of go around how you are on our screen. So I'm not choosing any favorites or anything. I just am. Tracy, would you like to give an introduction? Gotta unmute.
Good evening. My name. You can't hear me now?
Yep, we can.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't have very good internet connection out here. So my name is Tracy McCain. I'm the co-owner of Guardian Services of Northwest Michigan. I work with Lee. That you know, I've been working with her for over a year, and she's been in business for 3 years. And we do guardianships, conservatorships, and payees.
Thank you. Tammy?
Hi, even though it says Morgan, it's my daughter's logged in, but Tammy Bogle, I'm a program coordinator with Neuro Restorative. And yes, Roxanne, we do miss you there. We have been having a lot of changes over there, but it's still working out okay.
Well, tell everybody I said hi and I miss them too.
I will.
Lee, would you like to go next?
I'm Lee Storch with Guardian Services. We're just moving and shaking and learning new things every day. And we're getting more brain injury clients, and we're learning how to work with them. And that's about where we're at.
Wonderful.
And we just got an office.
Yay. All right. Todd. Todd, can you unmute? Can you hear me? Todd Altman? That is Todd, right, from Rehab and Mobility?
I'm sorry, it's Steve Chapman from Rehab
Well-
and Mobility Systems.
Steve, I do know who you are, but Todd's also on. He's just not talking. But if you want to go, you certainly can. Steve, go ahead.
I'm Steve with Rehab and Mobility Systems. Filling in or now coming to the meetings instead of Brian. I think most of you know Brian from our office. So I am doing the marketing and sales for Rehab and Mobility Systems in the Traverse City and Grand Rapids area. Brian did want to have me mention about the ReWalk system, which is an exoskeleton device that helps people walk. And he's trying to get that, get a demonstration for clients that might be in need of that up in the Traverse City location. So we wanted to throw it out tonight at the meeting. And if there's more information needed, you can get with me or with Brian on that. We also have a new product that I wanted to mention real quick called MicroSure, which actually kills the COVID virus. It's a hand sanitizer and a disinfectant. That's a new product that we have, and I can provide more stuff on that also.
Thank you. Is that Amy beside him? Amy, do you want to go next?
Yes. I didn't wear my red shirt apparently.
It was not planned.
Amy Doobie from Therapy Solutions. I'm an OT.
And part of the board. Did you mute her?
You muted Amy.
Amy,
Did
you
you
still
mute her?
there?
It looks like you muted her. Kyle, did you?
No.
There, now.
There you go.
Now
Okay.
I can hear you.
Could you hear me at all before?
We just heard you say you were an OT.
Oh, so I'm an OT. Therapy Solutions, we just started a Voc Rehab program in May. So in addition to OT, PT, speech, we now do Voc Rehab up here in Petoskey.
Very nice.
That's about it at the moment.
We're going to leave Andrea for last. So is that Alan? Alan Bird?
Hi, I'm Alan Bird. I work with Steve with CRC, and yeah, we're just starting to see clients again, so it's kind of getting back in the swing of things.
Welcome. Thank you. Who's at the bottom left? Next to, who's that? It says guest nurse.
Our guest nurse.
GR guest nurse. That's you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Laura Kramer. I'm from Manistee and I work for Health Partners as a clinical coordinator for our northern patients, TBI and spinal cord injury patients.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Christine Toko.
Hi, well, I'm Christine Toko and I work with Laura. I cover the west side of Michigan and all of northern Michigan in marketing. And thank you everyone for putting this on tonight. I really appreciate it having it.
Great.
And Michael.
Good evening. My name is Michael Malecki. I'm the owner of M&M Home Care, although we're based in Livonia, and I'm actually representing Christine Sylvia. Normally Christine is on the meeting, but she is actually giving birth at the moment. So she's asked me to step in and fill in, and so the least I can do is do that. Christine is an outstanding occupational therapist who she's expanding M&M Home Care into the northern Michigan area. So with home evaluations, need for services, etc. We've been around for about 7 years, and we're very, very pleased now to be members of the Northern Michigan Brain Injury Association.
Well, she probably has the best pass ever for not making it to the meeting. I mean, I missed last time because my son had his wisdom teeth out, but she wins against that. Jennifer Smith, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Jennifer, can you hear us?
Oh, here she comes.
Hello. Yep, Jennifer Smith, nurse case manager.
For Smith RN Group. Okay, Andrea Gubini.
Hey everyone, it's Andrea. I'm from Life Beyond Barriers Rehabilitation Group, Relations Specialist. It's good to see everyone.
Wish we could see you.
I thought I had my screen on, but I guess I don't. Let's see. Oh wait, here it is.
There you
Hi
are.
everyone. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
That's okay. I think I saw Sandy on there.
Yeah, I'm back on. Somehow I got knocked off.
Okay, did we miss anybody?
Whoever's on the phone.
That might be someone calling in. Todd, did you want to try to talk, or is your connection too loose too? Or maybe that's not Todd. Is that Tim Hosty? Yeah. Okay, Tim, we're up to you.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Tim Hosty. I'm the area director of vocational services for Neuro Restorative Michigan, the immediate past president of the Michigan Brain Injury Provider Council, and a CPAN board member. So appreciate the opportunity to join you guys tonight.
Well, Tim, since we've got you unmuted and everybody's paying close attention to you, do you want to give us a little bit of a legislative update?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start off with probably the one key thing that everybody's most interested in hearing about, and that is where everything stands with the fee schedule bill known as House Bill 5858. This has been about a 1.5-year project of the Michigan Brain Injury Provider Council and a couple of providers to really work on trying to get the necessary corrections needed to fix the fee schedule that will be going into effect July 1 of next year. That was part of Public Acts 21 and 22. As I mentioned, we did get it into House bill form. We have a Republican sponsor, 34 co-sponsors total, with almost an equal split on both sides of the aisle, which is going to be very helpful when this starts to move. That's kind of the overall key question right now. When is this going to move? What can we expect to see? And then one of the main things is what can each individual provider in person who works in this industry do to help get this thing through. The House and Senate are done with session. They will not be back until November 4th. When they do, they will be back November 4th through 12th. That is going to be strictly for leadership assignments, committee assignments, and more of their formational stuff. And there's not going to be a tremendous amount of actual legislative work done. That's not going to really kick off until the infamous lame duck session begins, which will begin on December 1st and run through December 17th. That gives us a lame duck session of 9 days to try and get this thing moved. Now, that may seem like there's not enough time, but in previous lame ducks, like the one 2 years ago, for example, they moved over 400 bills in a roughly 9-day period. So it is time. We have the support that we need to get that to move. The biggest thing is going to be to get it taken up. A couple factors have to come into play there. One, the leadership in House and Senate are looking to the governor to kind of signal that she is looking at this as a priority issue. The other key factor is to ensure that this remains only as a fee schedule correction bill, and there's nothing else that gets added to it. That has been the one key directive since this whole process started. It has to be laser focused, it has to be in the fee schedule only, and it has to fit within the confines of how the law is written. So that's going to be one of the absolute challenges. The reason why I think we're going to see some really big challenges with that is because of the fact that, one, there's a lot of things wrong with the no-fault reform that happened. And legislators have certain things they want to try and fix. If they take it and run through with what they want to do and they try and add things to it, it's going to completely stop. If they continue to go through and move it as is, we will stand a really good chance. The other issue is that if the Michigan House flips and Democrats take control, which right now polling is looking like there's a good chance of them going through and doing that, A lot of the existing, what they call legacy issues that Republican state reps have wanted to do, they know they're going to have limited opportunities. And when that happens, a lot of times other things get pushed to the back and unfortunately never get the time of day. So it's critically important that we get this thing through. My suggestion and ask for everyone is, even if you've done this already, please reach out to your state reps and tell them about why it is so critically important that when they get back to Lansing, this is a priority for them, that they have to go through and work on this. They have to do this. A lot of them think that there's time and that, you know, it's not until July of 2021 that this is going to go into place. Yes, there is some truth to it, and I don't want anyone to be worried that if we don't get it through this year, that's it. We will have a window of opportunity next year, January probably through April. But again, each passing month, the closer it gets to the fee schedule going into place, the more nervous we're all going to get, and the greater likelihood that it won't get put in place in time. So again, the ask is, please reach out to your state reps and your state senators and talk about what this means for your business, what this means for you personally, what this means for the people that you provide services to. Talk about what this is going to mean that if nothing changes and other providers within your area aren't able to operate, what that's going to be for access to care, because that's a big issue. And that's something that seems to be getting glossed over in this is, yes, we're talking significant jobs, but at the very, very base of this is a real issue with access to appropriate care. So I really, really ask that everybody, again, please reach out to your state reps, especially state senators as well, and encourage them when they get back to Lansing, they've got to get this thing moved. Other couple quick updates, utilization review. This is obviously a big part of Public Acts 21 and 22. The implementation date that was set forth was July 1st of 2020. As we sit right now, there are still not formalized rules. They are on the third draft. DIFS has been working with that back and forth. It has gotten to the process where now the committee that will go through and review and approve the administrative rules will be going through and taking that up. That's anticipated sometime in early November. Whether or not there's going to be sizable changes to it is yet to be seen. There may be a couple small things here and there, but basically, if you have read the actual third draft of the rules as they're written, there's a pretty good chance that's what you're going to end up seeing. If you have not received a copy of the third draft, please just send me a message here in the meeting, and I can email a copy over to you, just to make sure that everyone has a chance to take a look at that. But again, there isn't any real updates other than we're waiting for that next step. And again, it should be November, sometime early part of the month. Accreditation, that's another big issue. That is pretty much when DIFS filed their bulletin over the summer. It basically spelled out what's going to happen. The final bulletin they ended up putting out was far less informative than what they had first given to us, is what they were proposing to put out. They decided to just kind of do that, hit the highlights, and then direct everyone to the Department of Insurance and Financial Services website in their frequently asked questions section, and get people to get the information that they need. And then they're also encouraging providers and consumers that if you have questions, email DIFS directly, and they will get back to you as promptly as they can. I've sent a couple emails to them from various email addresses just to test what the response time is. If you get a response in less than 3 weeks, you're doing pretty good. So it's not exactly a quick turnaround time. Just kind of continues to show that this is my personal opinion, that DIFS is very overwhelmed with all this, and that they aren't able to roll this out in the time, or most importantly, the efficiency that they really should be. They did go through and clarify who is exempted from this. And if you haven't seen this, I did want to kind of go over it right now. The ones that they've actually addressed are your transportation services, your vocational counselors, your case managers, pharmacy services, rec therapists, DME, and case management services. have been exempted from the accreditation. And the accreditation standard did also change too. It's not just CARF, but JACO also. So they did go through and then provide that. The issue with this process still comes into place is that if you have a standalone case manager, or a standalone therapist, a standalone physical therapist, occupational therapist, based on the way they defined a neurological rehabilitation clinic in Public Act 21 and 22, it says a person providing a service. By doing that, that has now made that if somebody is a occupational therapist, physical therapy therapist, and so on, and they're a one-person company, under the way the law is written, they still have to be accredited, as difficult as that is going to be for them. That was something that, again, we tried to get cleared up. We tried to get exemptions for, and unfortunately, they just did not separate that. So I know that's a big, big challenge. I've got quite a few calls from therapists who are against, one-person companies, and they're really trying to figure out how they're going to make this happen. So, again, if there's any questions, DIF's website is, I hate to say it, but the best way to kind of go about it. But again, don't expect anything prompt from them. The only other thing that I was going to mention, obviously elections are coming up very, very close. There are some key races that from an auto no fault standpoint, we are encouraging providers to help out with. This year is a little bit different because of the fact that normally it's been limited to providers that work or live in a particular area. They, normally if they didn't, then it was impossible, but there's so many virtual opportunities doing phone banks and so on that you can do. We really encourage everyone to dedicate, even if it's just an hour or two, to help out. In the northern part of the state, though, Dan O'Neill, who's running the 104th House District, if you have the opportunity, please reach out to him, find out if you can go and knock doors for him, help out with phone banks, work the polls, whatever the case is. From an auto no fault standpoint, he'd be extremely helpful. And then other opportunities in the on the west side of the state and the central part of the state and southern part of the state, we have Representative Whitwer, who's running in the Lansing area. If you have anyone around there, you can help out. Barb Annis, who's running in the Rochester Hills area. Christine Morse out of the Kalamazoo area. Julia Pulver out of the southeastern Michigan Novi area. And then Representative Wozniak out of the Shelby Township area. He is actually the primary sponsor of House Bill 5858. His race is not going to be as tight as others, but nevertheless, it's critically important that our industry, really shows up for him. He's been showing up for us and doing what he has to do, and now it's time for us to help him out with that. So that kind of just caps what I wanted to go over. Again, if you have any questions or need a copy of that third draft of the rules, please don't hesitate to send me a message here in the meeting, and I will do my best to answer for you.
And for those of you that don't know, his email address is tim.hosty@neurorestorative.com. So if you need to get any of that information that he mentioned, I'll just throw his email out there to you. Some reason I have it in my head, Tim. Sorry about that. And Andrea, I didn't forget about you. I just figured you'd have time to introduce yourself before you're speaking. And I just wanted to go over a few more things. I was kind of one of those pushy people today. I went into, and I know some of you will be really surprised by that. I went on to the Brain Injury Network website. And if you're not a corporate member, you're not on the website anymore. So I reached out to a few people that I know that weren't on the website and just kind of rattled the trees a little bit and said, hey, you need to get this done. So check out the website. If you see that your friends or other companies that you know of that should be members, kind of reach out to them and say, hey, we'd love to see you join our group and keep this group going strong. We started it many, many years ago as a good way to network and disseminate a lot of information among various groups up in Northern Michigan. And we want to make sure, we've got this virtual option so that we can keep this meeting going strong and we can still get those educational opportunities and the networking opportunities. There's great resources on the website. Let's make sure that we're really utilizing what we've got. And with that being said, not only is there the renewal information on the website, there's also information about a grant. So if you're a member and you know of somebody who needs some equipment or some services, and the description is in there on the grant stuff, we have money available to help out survivors that need it, okay? Nobody's tapped into this yet. I'm sure we all know someone who may need a little bit of assistance. I know I just reached out to a case manager today because I personally know of an individual who needed a lift chair and a U-step walker, and the insurance company was him and hawing. If the insurance company is not going to pay for it, can't guarantee the grant will go through, but I can guarantee it won't if you don't send in the application. So if you have someone that you know needs something, make sure you go on that website and fill out that grant. We would like to be able to utilize the money to be able to help our survivors. That's kind of one of the missions of this group. Other thing I just wanted to touch on, so Tim's kind of our major person in our legislative committee right now. Thank you, Tim, for all of your work at the Capitol and keeping us informed on this stuff. We've done some reach outs to our other committees. The conference planning committee is kind of getting ready to start a meeting. We've all been really busy with changes in our lives, but we need to get that going. We do have the date set for October of 2021. So we need to get that planning going. If you know of any topics that you'd like us to talk about at the conference, please let us know. Any of the board members can be reached. I'm on the conference planning committee. Dawn Clock is on the conference planning committee. She's actually the leader. So let us know. We want to make sure that the topics that we're doing on that in the conference in October are things that really are going to meet our professional needs. So make sure that you really communicate with us. Education committee, that's basically Sandy's the one-man show there. I'm sure she would love any ideas for these quarterly meetings. You know, she lined up Andrea for tonight, which we really appreciate, but any ideas you have, she'd be great to reach out to. And talk about reaching out, we have the outreach committee. If you're interested in joining the outreach committee, the kind of the purpose behind that is educating people in the community about brain injury, whether it's primary care physicians or you know, most of our therapy departments around here have a good knowledge, but does everybody? Or should we educate them on concussions and all of the other things that we know like the back of our hand, but a lot of our primary care physicians and other professionals out there, they don't. So what can we do to help provide that information? Or do we do this as support for our support groups? Does everybody know about the support groups that are out there? I mean, Kyle just mentioned that one. I know Amy has one up in Petoskey. We want to be able to support those outreach programs that are helping our survivors, but also educating the community. Sandy and I are both on the outreach committee. We'd love to have assistance. So if you're interested, reach out to either one of us. Now, the really great thing is I get to shut up, which is my favorite part of the day. And we're going to hand it over to Andrea, but Sandy, would you like to introduce our speaker and then we'll go to her?
Okie dokie. Our speaker tonight is Andrea Cassell. And Andrea is a certified clinical social worker and registered yoga instructor, specializing in integrative counseling services and mindfulness theory. She worked in a variety of healthcare settings, including chronic disease management and hospice. She currently owns and operates a small private practice in downtown Traverse City, where she works with clients in transition, addressing chronic pain, TBI, anxiety, ADHD, coping strategies, meditation, diaphragmatic breath work, and more. When she's not working, she enjoys spending time outdoors, exploring with her family and pets. And I am pleased to welcome Andrea Cassell to be our speaker tonight.
Hi, thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Brain Injury Group here, Network of Northern Michigan, for having me. I'm very excited. So bear with me. I am not like, I'm a Zoom person, but not a Zoom maneuver type person. So I'm going to share my screen here. Bear with me here and see. Do you guys see it? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that introduction, Sandy. Just to say too, exactly what she said. I live in Traverse City. I also have some stress with this pandemic, like all of you, I'm sure. And so right now I have a presentation, maybe an hour or so, maybe a little less, but if you have questions, if anything comes up, I don't know if there's opportunity for chat box or if we just want to save it until the end, but take notes, reach out if you have questions, let me know. And so I guess with that, we'll get started. So COVID-19 and the impact to brain injury survivors, providers. I'm looping broadly providers into nurse navigators, occupational therapists, physicians. So just use that as a grain of salt, just kind of knowing where you may lie on that spectrum. And then just too, as we go through this presentation, because I think the idea was to really focus on what is happening right now. How is it impacting mental health, abilities for healing, brain injury in particular? So keep in mind what other aspects brain injury survivors may have happening too during this time, other chronic conditions, lifestyle, etc. So we'll get into that more too, but just kind of keep an open mind, consider yourself. That's all I ask. Okay. So objectives, impacts of the pandemic, stress response, mindfulness and self-care. So it is my intention, I just ask, kind of keep an open mind, open heart here. I may try to do some mindfulness practices with you, easy, simple to remember, things that have been proven to impact, improve, benefit personal life of TBI survivors. So these are not just willy-nilly. I'm just going to throw that out there. I am trying to keep this presentation on the lighter side, so there won't be a lot of what happens when our stress responses are ignited. I find in my practice right now, many people are burnt out. Many people have pandemic fatigue. I think it's called caution fatigue at the moment. And there's not a lot of bandwidth to get things done, to deal with heavy things, right? So we'll kind of go through that too. So any questions, just put them in the chat box, save them for later. We'll get to it. So, okay. We'll get started here. So impacts of the pandemic. Just take a moment. How has it impacted you, right? So for me, my situation might be different than yours. Your situation may be no different, right? One thing I see of this right now is that I may use this quote several times during this presentation. We are all in the same storm, but in a different boat. Okay, I love it. I think it is totally what we're doing right now. And so as I see it, this storm, if you will, is kind of creating a culture of where a lot of folks are taking stock of their life, their health, their emotional well-being, and kind of going from there. So I'm noticing my green screen, it kind of cuts off my head, so that's kind of interesting. So anyway, okay, so let's get into it here. Mental health. I'm going to read some statistics that are for non-TBI. I can't really find a lot right now on specifics out there on current stats where TBI clients, survivors, caregivers are. So this is just general stats that I'm going to kind of share with you right now. So bear with me. Right now, statistics are showing with the pandemic stress, and again, I want to be cautious of pandemic stress because I think there's a lot of stress, but depression and anxiety rates can be, what I'm seeing from surveys is anywhere 33 to 46%. So that's pretty darn big number. 5 years ago, 20% was sort of what it was. So people are more stressed, people are more willing to admit that they are stressed. And so a third of Americans right now showing signs of anxiety, depression, 20% showing both. So this is kind of a big deal. Big jump from before pandemic, big jump. Stats on this side here. I hear my dog barking, you may hear that too. So I wanted to put these out. This is just in a perfect world stats for TBI. 1.7 million people every year, TBI, right? With that, there's a 4-time higher instance of depression in this population, 1 to 4 times more likely for suicide and suicidal ideation. I think that when we're in a time of change, especially when we're working with TBI, it can be super hard to accept change and or deal with change. And so I think that these numbers are something that we very much should be paying attention to when we're working with clients, talking to friends, family, and just seeing what we can do. Where is somebody truly at, right? How are they truly doing? So, any questions? Okay. I actually can't see the chat box, so if there are any questions, just let me know. So I'd like to read some more stats to you before I move on this slide. So Americans responded to this question: how have you been bothered by feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? Or how often, excuse me. And not at all, several days. 25% in this survey showed that they were feeling it. Michigan, 33%. It seems to depend on your geographic location as well, right? Rural versus urban, good times, all that good fun stuff. Providers. So this infographic here is more geared towards primary care, but I do think it's relevant to all providers right now during this time. So right now, what I'm hearing from providers, it's hard. People are calling in sick, staffing, I can't make it all work. 66 in this quote here are not considering leaving primary care. So, but that means like 34 are. Many have shut down quality initiatives, canceled training. It's sort of a big pause right now. And so I think that where I wanted to go with this slide is whatever we are doing, working with brain injury population, we need to make sure that we are being authentic, keeping it simple, and really working to install trust, empathy, connection. I know in counseling, the therapeutic relationship is like 99% of if it's going to work or not for that person. And so I think that is something to consider if we are asking others to consider change, right? So just something to think about there. So just curious, I heard some people saying they were back in person, gearing up for that. My personal situation, I am not there in person. I am doing telecounseling only. So just curious where many people are in that aspect, and we can save that for later too if you want. So I think there might be one caregiver on this panel. So this is for you, kudos. Work-life balance, right? How has pandemic shifted for you? I know many people are finding less time to get things done. Maybe you have kids at home that you are now teaching. Me, until January, maybe. So that's super fun, right? That puts things in perspective and it changes things out of your control, but it's what it is. So telehealth, less in-person appointments. I have found in my practice that maybe 20% is not into telehealth appointments. And I would say that out of my clients that have TBI, it's about 50-50. And I think we can go into that later, but just kind of keeping that in mind too, on how they are appreciating the telehealth counseling versus not. how is that being communicated to the caregiver? Is the caregiver coping? Is the caregiver taking on some of those frustrations of the survivor? Are they not? Vice versa, right? Is the survivor taking on frustrations of caregiver? So just something to think about here. Women right now during COVID caregiving tend to be about 46% stressed, where men are about 33% stressed in terms of giving care. Now, many reasons, not trying to downplay men here, they help out, they do. But I do find in my personal situation, most caregivers tend to be female. Just something to consider here. Okay. Yeah. So also I want to go back here to caregivers. I think I wanted to mention that struggling sandwich generation, because I do think we have a lot of folks who are juggling a lot of different things at the moment, maybe caring for a parent, maybe caring for a child, and having to do all of those things now with COVID on top of it. So just something to consider there. All right. Have I stressed you out yet? Mm-mm. So I think now is a good time to transition into the brain's stress response. Now, this is where I'm going to try to keep it light. Good luck. So obviously the limbic system identifies stress, prefrontal cortex. Oh my gosh, we're going to freeze, we're going to flee, we're going to fight. You know, that is true what fear is, right? The tiger is behind us, watch out. Problem is when we're working with TBI survivors, and likely many of you all know this, cortex, prefrontal cortex is usually compromised, right? That's usually where an injury, at least with my clients, that's what I've seen. And so we're already predispositioned to have more intense responses to trauma, perceived trauma, triggers. And so that is also, again, something that adds up to that higher rates of depression, suicidal ideation, something to think about, right? Obviously, the goal with trauma, we can change it. We can change it through mindfulness. We can change it through cognitive behavioral therapy. There is neuroplasticity. That is the goal, I think, of everybody working with a brain injury survivor, right? We want to reorganize, we want to structure, we want to get the right neural pathways down, especially when we're dealing with trauma. So the idea with mindfulness, pause, become aware. How does my body feel? What is it really feeling? And have that awareness so then you can be confident in your own skin. Easier said than done, right? So how stressed were we before COVID? I'll let this little infographic share with you. And how stressed are you now? Many people are less stressed, believe it or not. Many people are more stressed. It again is not it's a unique situation truly right now for everybody. Everyone has a different view. Do I mask? Do I don't? What's appropriate? Do I have Thanksgiving? Do I not? There's a lot of different things going on. But I think that this sort of pause, if you will, has given a lot of people more understanding of where their time goes. And I'm sure that that is the same too for brain injury clients. Maybe they have more time because appointments are now virtual. Maybe they have more time because there's not volunteer opportunities or social gatherings, as you will. So there's just something to think about in that regard. So pros of COVID. Raise hands, anybody have a pro? I have a few. I think people are more aware of their health. I think they're paying attention. They don't want to get sick. They're going to eat vitamin C, right? They're trying to create healthy habits, especially those folks that I see work from home. What can they do to add into their day, right? Because now they've got maybe extra time, maybe they don't because they're working remotely and that usually consumes time. So we'll kind of go into ideas to consider here for healthy habits. What other positives? Kindness, right? Maybe. So think on those as I talk about challenges. So stressors to consider now. We could talk about toxic childhood stress for a long time and how that impacts stressors into individuals. That could be a whole deal in itself. But what I think is important to recognize in times of stress, we tend to go back to what we know and what we learned and what we observed as a small child, 0 to 7. That's what happens. And so it's very good if it's available to you, if it's available as a provider, caregiver, well, caregiver, you already know usually, but provider, to be aware of what happened with that person in their childhood. How are they equipped to handle stress, change, unknown, right? So I know for something I do in my practice, it's optional. I don't require anybody to do it, but there's something called an ACE survey. I don't know if you've all heard of that. Adverse childhood experiences. And it's a really good way to kind of see what might somebody be dealing with, what might they react, what might they be more prone to. More ACEs equal more impact of chronic disease, more rates of depression, anxiety, etc. Okay, so mental health, I didn't write that on here, but it's something to consider because again, many TBI survivors, they're struggling with disorganized thought, right? I don't have a TBI that I'm aware of. I do have ADHD, and I can tell you right now, my thought process is so not smooth. So I can imagine where these folks are, right? What are they trying to struggle through? What are they trying to make sense of? Can they even accomplish daily tasks, right? Are they kind of in the mix because stress is something that they're working with? How do they handle that stress? Something to consider. Again, we talked about caution fatigue. I don't really know anybody who's been sick. It's not real. I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I hear a lot of that. A lot of people just wanting their old life back, right? So what I'd like to say is right now, there's no rule book on how to get through pandemic stress. 2020 and all that 2020 is bringing. So I think it's very important for all of us to consider what are our mental health expectations, what is our workload expectation, what is our family expectation, and to really consider, are we capable of all of those things right now? Because I think as helpers, caregivers, you tend to help, and we often help more than what we really should be at times. Something to consider, because this is sort of a marathon, because we don't know the end date, right? Okay, so kids at home, screen time, politics, climate change, Black Lives Matters. What else are you seeing out there that is a stress for folks, right? Again, that therapeutic relationship, it is very, very much needed to connect. TBI clients, I can't stress again how much trust is really needed to form that connection. Okay, maybe we have job loss, right? Maybe we're grieving something that we were supposed to have, like a vacation. I don't know. Things to consider, or grieving what we think we should be doing anyway. So, Northern Michigan. I'm seeing a lot of challenges in Northern Michigan in relation to pandemic. Wi-Fi accessibility, huge with my clients. It's a consideration for clients that live in more rural communities that are very limited with income. They don't have the funds to pay for internet. They're not a college student. What do, right? That's not a great option. So just something to consider as a challenge. Do they even have minutes on their phone? Computers, I don't know. Transportation, did that change? Financial insecurity, food insecurity. Social outlet, that one is a big one that I'm seeing, where maybe we were able to meet with people in groups. Now we cannot. Maybe we were meeting with a provider every week, twice a week, and now it's over the Zoom, whatever. Something to kind of consider. Those are all losses, grief. What creative solutions can we all have, right? I think there are a lot of creative solutions. Again, same storm, different boat. So what can we control? What can we not? That's what I say to these challenges when I talk with clients. How much time, anxieties are you spending on things that are not within your control? Can you change the situation in the here and the now? Okay, I can't. So what can I do to make my day better? I don't know, go for a walk, try to go outside. Those are just some things. So that is kind of the stress, as I see it, light and bright, of what's happening for this population here in Northern Michigan. Am I missing anything? Chat box if you can, but I can't see it now. So, okay. So here I would like, if you are willing, to play out with some ideas, some strategies for effective responses, coping strategies for ourselves, for our friends, family, for our client. You never know when something might connect, when you might have a piece of information that just fits. And so again, these are not difficult strategies. These are things that we can do and add easily to our day, okay? Because a lot of us don't have that extra time to put in and change too much when there's already change going on. So the goal here with mindfulness and self-care, refocus, reaffirm, and ground. Now that we got all those stressors out of the way, we're gonna let them go. So key components to improve mental health. I don't think there will be any surprises here. Meditation, reflection, mindfulness, that could link up to meditation and reflection, movement. I am now avoiding the word exercise, right? I have found that when I work with TBI individuals, they say they never exercise, and then it becomes a point of stress, a point of concern. You break it down. Are you going to physical therapy? Yeah. Okay. Are you doing your physical therapy exercises at home? Yes. Did you go walk in your garden today? Yes. Reframe movement for people so they can feel successful in what they are doing and be more apt to continue on that path of movement. Movement doesn't have to be, I went to the gym, I did Stairmaster, ew. Maybe it's a hike, right? Okay, so just really working to reframe movement, because movement is so darn critical for our mental health and well-being. We'll get into that more later. Nutrition, right? If you're eating bad stuff, your body, your stress, your mental health has impact. It's okay. We're also in a pandemic. If you want to eat the ice cream, I'm not there to say no, don't do it. But I will say, be aware of what food does to your body. I am finding a lot of anxious thinking associated with alcohol and gluten. I don't know if there's a connection. There might be. I'm not a nutritionist. So things to consider. If I eat this food, does it make me feel good? Just, again, awareness, right? Sleep. Sleep is so critical for our mental health. And unfortunately, we'll go into this a little bit more. I won't spend much time here on sleep. Brain injury survivors usually have a difficult time maintaining sleep, right? So gratitude, connection, self-care, and we'll go into these a little bit more. Let's see. All right, this is where I want you to test some things if you're up for it. Okay, so I actually, when I started working with traumatic brain injury clients, I will be honest, I didn't know a lot. I thought, okay, I can do this. And I did a lot of study. And I went and looked what other psychiatrists were doing. I'm not a psychiatrist, just a social worker. I looked to see what the standard was, who saw improvement, what were they doing? Because I wanted my clients to succeed. I wanted them to hit their goals. I wanted them to stay with hope. I wanted them to see there was improvement, right? This was one of, this psychiatrist who works with brain injury, this was one of the first things he gave people as homework. this loving kindness meditation. There are a ton of varieties out there in the world. You may see it in the yoga life. You may see it lots of different places. It's been around a lot longer than we have. So the idea here is radical love, self-acceptance. We want to focus our attentions. We want to reduce our stress, and we want to tune in with our environment. We want greater connection, right? And so something like this, meditation doesn't have to be staring at a wall and not thinking. This could be considered meditation, and it's so easy to do. So if you want, I just encourage you, if you trust me, keep your eyes open or shut, whatever. But we'll take a few moments and we'll go through this. It's something I tell people they can do in the car. You probably shouldn't, but you could. So what I would like for you to do, I have a bad sense of humor, I apologize. So what I'd like for you to do is get cozy, relax. Maybe you've had a long day. What time is it? 6:30, 7:30? My goodness. So roll your shoulders. Idea being shoulders up to the ears, push them back and then down. Maybe you just do a few neck circles. Find what your body needs right now. If you do and are brave enough to close your eyes, let's try 3 cycles of breath in this format. We're going to inhale to a count of 3, pause, and exhale to a count of 3. That's it. That's all we're going to do. So we're going to do that 3 times. I'll count it out the first time, then we'll pause, and then I'll guide you through this loving kindness meditation. Okay, and we can go from there. So again, if you're comfortable, shut your eyes. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, pause, and exhale to a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, pause, exhale. On your own, inhale and exhale. And let your eyelids sink down heavier if they are closed. And I want for 1 minute, we're going to consider the first piece of this meditation. May I be healthy and safe. And so for 1 minute, I dare you, repeat in your head, may I be healthy and safe. May I be healthy and safe. May I be healthy and safe. Other thoughts may come up, and that's okay. Your brain is meant to make thoughts. Just let them go. Return back to the mantra. May I be healthy and safe. May I be healthy and safe. Next, I'd like for you to consider a loved one, somebody who has touched you, somebody who has moved your life, maybe parent, maybe a client, maybe somebody, your child, partner, spouse. Think of that loved one, and for the next minute, say that to them. May my husband be healthy and safe. May my grandmother be healthy and safe. Think on that person. May they be healthy and safe. 1 minute. Somebody you really want to show your appreciation to. Somebody who means the world to you. Next, I'd like for you to consider somebody you don't know. This is where the car comes in handy. That person driving in front of me, behind me, checkout person, somebody on TV that you saw, somebody you'd like to meet. May that person be healthy and safe. And so then for the next minute, shift to that person you don't know. May they be healthy and safe. May they be healthy and safe. Next, we'll shift to somebody we struggle with. I can think of a few. May that person be healthy and safe. This is hard for many. May that person be healthy and safe. Somebody we struggle with. May they be healthy and safe. 1 minute. May that person be healthy and safe. And then lastly, one last step here. We'll send those intentions of love and kindness to something bigger than us. You can choose your town, your community, maybe it's a church, maybe it's a family, maybe it's the state, maybe it's the universe, something bigger than you. May that be healthy and safe. Now, if healthy and safe don't resonate with you, may the universe be protected and not on fire. I don't know, something of that nature, but just make it work for you. May my region be healthy and safe. And just take a breath, a pause, nice inhale and an exhale, and just notice how you feel. How does your body feel? How does your brain feel? Any change? Maybe none, maybe some, right? So just kind of put that together. If that's something you could try to do in the morning, first thing, or when you have time, just 5 minutes. I'd be happy if somebody just spent 2 minutes, right? Just anything is beneficial. 30 seconds is beneficial. Any questions on that? Okay. So bear with me here. Meditation. Congrats, you guys all did meditation. There are so many different aspects of meditation. I find, like I said, meditation is not thinking, not thinking, staring at a wall. I have an overactive brain, very overactive. Meditation is the worst thing for me. Hate it with a passion. That's why I got into yoga, because I needed it, right? Needed it. So many different ways of meditation. We've got guided meditation, YouTube. I direct clients to YouTube all the time. There's so many great videos out there. There's many apps, Calm, Insight Timer, Headspace. I believe that Michigan right now has free Headspace usage because of COVID. And so that's something to share too with clients. Mantra, that's kind of what we just did. Pick a statement, affirmation that works for you. Today, I am going to be okay with what life brings me. I'm just going to be okay with it, right? Counting. I like to count. So I like to count while I walk. It's a thing. That's meditation. Running is meditation. Walking is meditation. Playing guitar is meditation, right? We need to kind of shift what we think about meditation and really just take a moment. Meditation is really getting our brain okay with being here in the present moment, being okay here and now. That's all. Finger tapping. It sounds kind of weird, and I don't know if this is the official way to say it. But I came across this as a meditation mantra, and it worked incredibly well with TBI clients. I will caution, I originally got it for children because I'm trying to figure out how to be mindful with my children right now. So, but the idea is you just take your fingers, 4 words, whatever 4 words work. So I am okay in this moment. That doesn't really work. My body knows what to do. That doesn't work either. I'm striking out here on you guys. We make the 4 words relevant to what's going on for that individual. I can make it. I can drive fine, right? Whatever it has to be, but we're creating tactile touch. I am a survivor. I am a survivor. That finger touch sensation, it does something in that moment when triggered, where we have the freeze, the flee, the fight sensation, and it pauses and people can make it through. It works. I know it sounds kind of crazy. When I first heard it, it was may peace be with you. And that just didn't, I didn't like that. So we change it for people and their situation and their stressors. Emotional freedom technique. Have you heard of this? Has anybody heard of this? Tapping. It's interesting. That's all I'll say. I find it usually works better with men. I've had clients tell me it's like, I just took a Xanax, which I thought was like, wow. But there's YouTube videos out there. There's a lot of training out there. And what it's trying to do is blend in acupressure, good old acupuncture, which we all know is helpful for brain injury, with common psychology. So you're supposed to sort of blend the worst and just have it be okay with it. I'm not going to go into a big to-do on this because it could take a while. There's lots of videos out there, but it is also very beneficial and it's very unique to the person. So you can use it to do whatever your story is, whatever your situation is. It's not a bad thing. I've seen a lot of work with this. The 5 senses, meditation. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I feel? What do I smell? What do I taste? Connect in with the body, right? Maybe you need to pick out 5 things you see, right? So 4 things you see, whatever it may be. Observe nature. To me, that could also be considered meditation. Also, 20 minutes outside in nature, observing, has been linked to be similar to low dose Prozac, right? Very free, very easy. Go outside, stare at a bird. Boom, you're going to feel better. I don't know how it works. It just does. We're primal creatures. We haven't come too far from our hunter-gatherer days. It's the way it is. We have a reptilian brain that likes to see certain things to keep us calm. Pressure points. So just show you these very quickly. These are, we could go on. There's a lot of pressure points. What I have found beneficial right here in the meat between your thumb and index finger, just pressing here. Breathe in, I am okay. This sensation creates a different neural pathway. It stops where we are thinking, what we are looping on. I am okay. Another one that's really easy, take your hand, drop it down, middle finger lands middle right here. And again, you can press with your fingers, you can press with your hands. I am okay. So just this area right here in the middle of our palm is what we're looking for. Those are 2, pretty easy to find. This one can be done under the table at dinner with family. They don't need to know that you're having a hard time with what they're saying. Can be done if you disagree with somebody. Smile, that's meditation too in the morning before you wake up. Lift the corners of your mouth, smile. I can handle whatever comes, right? Because if you smile, it tricks your brain. I'm happy, things are going well. Okay, progressive muscle relaxation, yoga nidra, very similar, very good things. Meditation, very good for brain injury clients. Muscle progression, top down, bottom up. Squeeze your head, squeeze your shoulders, squeeze your biceps, squeeze your hands, belly, you know, just go through your body, connect in, relax. Okay, what else? What else for meditation? What else? We could talk, again, there's a lot of different ideas out there of meditation, a lot of possibilities. Mindfulness and neuroscience. Basically what we just said, be here now, reconnect to the body. The past is depression usually. The future is linked to more anxiety, right? All of this is really to reconnect in with the body, be able to communicate, be able to respond when triggered. So So again, I won't go through this stimulus reaction with mindfulness. I think my husband played around with some of the words here, but that should be mindfulness, choice, and response. Sorry, I think it went to a different language. Okay, so COVID, we're busy people. I'm working, teaching, it's crazy. So what mindfulness is not, it's not zoning out. It's not like the idea of, I don't know, hippies or something like that. It is not being happy all the time. Nobody can be happy all the time. Happiness is not a constant. We need to not think that it is. Happiness is a goal on our road of imperfect perfection, if you will. And we get there, but it's not a constant. People need to be aware of that, right? Okay, so here we go with movement. I, again, won't spend all this time explaining all of these. At the beginning of COVID, dance parties were a really fun way to get my clients light, to get them out of their head, to get them into their bodies. Dancing, I know everybody with TBI, usually there's sometimes auto injury involved, right? Or other injury. And so dance party doesn't have to be like, I can do all of these things. Dance party could just be putting on music that makes you happy. Maybe you tap a toe, maybe you just nod your head, whatever. That's movement, right? Massage, pet an animal, kinetic sand and clay. Okay, so I have a stat here about those, that if I can find it. But in essence, we're working again, improving focus and function, opening up that prefrontal cortex. What do I do with this clay? What do I want to do with it? Do I want to make a cat? Do I want to make a ball? It's creating opportunities, right? So when I worked for a large nonprofit, meetings like this, we'd always be told to color, to doodle, right? Because it's sort of focusing our attentions on what's being said in a way that's not distracting us. And that's kind of what the sand does. Anyway, so I just thought of other ideas, but that's another segment. Anyway, alternate nostril breathing. I kind of snuck it in here. I don't know if I really want to do this on screen, but this is another very effective breathing technique. Left side of breathing energizes. I may have said that wrong. Right side calms. So if we do opposite nostril breathing, we're creating a level playing field. It's very strange. You just shut your nose, you inhale, switch and seal, exhale. Inhale again, switch and seal, exhale. Play around with it. It's a good one, I promise. Be careful. I have had clients get nosebleeds from this, so don't press too hard. Okay. Nutrition. Brain injury, I'm not a nutritionist, but from what I can gather, B vitamins, vitamin D, probiotics, anti-inflammatory diet are helpful. Reduce sugar. It is what it is. Okay, so I've been to a lot of presentations where people sneak in pictures of like family vacations. This is mine for you guys. This is Sleep. This is our COVID puppy who is now 9 months and not cute like this anymore. Very cute, but just not cute like this size cute. Sleep. I could talk to you guys a long time on sleep. Cognitive decline, sleep deficits, individuals without TBI, hands down. Imagine the impact to those with TBI. TBI more open to have open mouth breathing at night, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, we can keep going, right? So just for time, I don't know, Sandy, you said about an hour. What I could do, if this is okay, I have a sleep sheet. I could send it to you and then you could share with the group if that's okay. Just some ideas on sleep. So screens are a huge part. We now look at screens at night. Many people are probably watching The Office on their phone in bed. The blue light is not good. I have heard psychologists, neurologists, folks say, I don't believe this can happen for me anyway. 6 hours, no screens before bed. What? Who can do that? Who can say they can do that, right? And so I think if you can do 2 to 4, you're gonna win. An hour, better. 20 minutes, yay, you did 20 minutes without your phone before you went to bed, whatever. Something to consider that that light is gonna have impact. It's gonna wake you up through the night. You're not gonna have consistent, steady, healing, regenerative sleep. Okay. More grinding of teeth, which impacts sleep. I won't go into that too much. If anybody has questions or wants more information, at the end of this presentation, my contact information is available and I'd be happy to share or answer questions in that format too. So, but I will send that sleep sheet to Sandy and you can all have that. There's a lot of tricks and ideas. It's overwhelming because sleep is overwhelming and what works for one person might not work for the next 25. And so I think that what we need to do when we're working with mental health, TBI individuals, caregivers, anyone, we need to keep that message of hope because there are things being found out every day. And what works for one doesn't usually seem to work for another person. Sometimes, but we're all unique individuals. Okay, self-care, here we go. I don't like the word self-care. It sounds selfish, doesn't it? But it's not. One of the ideas behind self-care, this is kind of a quote that got me thinking more about it. You can't give what you don't have. If your gas tank is empty, you're not making it up the hill. And if we're a caregiver and this person, our person relies on us, we better darn well be taking care of ourselves so we can help take care of that person. And so it's not selfish. It's called survival. And it's going to help mental health tremendously. So ideas with self-care, it's different for everybody, right? I have a cousin who likes to do like Dungeons and Dragons. No, thank you. Right? That's not my idea of self-care. So what works for you? What is self-care for you? Focus on what brings you joy. That's a hard statement. Some people right now don't know what brings them joy. And I say, okay, so what gives you inspiration to make it through your day? What is one thing you actually felt good about today? Focus on those sorts of situations because that focus then creates a wider lens of positivity, appreciation, gratitude for what that person does have. I'll stop there. So again, indulging in the senses, reading a book, taking a hot tub or bath or something, essential oils, eating food. I mean, all of the things that we have sort of talked about in a way lead into self-care, right? This infographic here, I got from my husband. It was floating around his workspace. I think it came from his HR group and I thought it was really great. Who do I choose to be during the COVID-19 pandemic? And again, I like to think broader. This is just a start. We get to choose who we want to be now. Who do we want to be when this is done, right? All of these steps we're taking now will get us to that direction when this is finished. And we'll be stronger, we'll have more tools, we'll be kinder to each other because we've all been in this storm, right? Different boats. Okay, so COVID coping. I wanted to state here before, I wanted to throw this out here because I am finding with many of my clients right now, I have anxiety. Okay, what does that mean, right? I just have anxiety, I don't feel good. So I know how anxiety impacts my life. It's probably different than your life. It's probably different in your body than in my body. And so I want to stop just kind of saying this blanket word of anxiety and really challenge us. It's hard to do, but challenge us when we start to think of that word anxiety. Okay, let's not use anxiety. How are we feeling? Can we connect with one of our core emotions? sadness, shame, frustration, disappointment, helplessness, anger, vulnerability, frustration. I may have already said that. I apologize if I didn't. These are the core emotions identified that we face throughout our day when random things happen. That guy just pulled out in front of me. What a jerk. I'm so angry. Well, okay, where'd that come from? You're not really angry at that guy, are you? You don't even know him. So where is that kind of coming from? What situation has that come from? Is it really anxiety? That was a bad example, but I think you get where I'm going. So COVID coping, biggest one here. What can I control and what can't I? And so focusing on the things that we can control is so big right now. So also big, I apologize here, that should say limit social media news consumption. Huge, no more than 20 minutes a day. That is all, nothing changes. It's the same thing, just with different headlines, different tactics. And the impact that it has to a body, a brain is not good. It's fear-based. It's putting people in this sort of a looping cycle. And then before you know it, you've spent 2 hours scrolling on your phone. And what should you be doing? Probably the dishes, eating dinner, moving, dance party, not scrolling on your phone. What have you learned? Probably everything you already knew beforehand. I don't know. So I'm not saying to not be informed. We all very much need to be informed, but pay attention to what channels you're consuming of social media, news. Is it accurate? Is it truth? How does it make you feel when you listen, read it, see it? Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We don't know what they're going through. We can't know their boat, right? So that's something to consider. I have seen with my TBI individuals thriving or not. And it has to do with that connection to other people, and people are missing that random friendships that they would make or conversations at the store. So just something to think about when we're out there in this world. How are we coping? What can we do? I did notice that there are some TBI chat groups out there. I don't know how well they work for individuals, but it could be something to consider if you have an individual at home. Better than Tinder, I don't know, maybe. So, right, clients date too. So distract yourself. What's a good hobby to pick up? What book can you read? Can you create some art? What have you been wanting to do that you haven't done? This is a perfect time to do those things now. Let's see. Oh, I was going to give you another breathing exercise, but this one, this is Oprah's. This is Marine's. This is, I think, the Dalai Lama's breathing exercise. I call it 4 square breathing. It can help when you don't feel things are in control. Again, inhale to a count of 4, pause for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4, inhale for 4, pause for 4. If inhaling for 4 seconds is too much, do 2. Pause, exhale, pause, inhale. Something like that for 3 minutes can really change a person's mental state. It's hard to do. If you can do it for 30 seconds, I'm proud of you. So, and again, what brings you joy? Add that to your life. New routines, journaling, if you dare. So, yeah, just being okay with what is happening. So I apologize, this was out of alignment here, but I do like this quote: best way to take care of future is take care of the present moment. So, and thank you. That's all I have. I talked fast. I had a lot of information that we could have spent a lot of different time on, but wasn't sure with this broad of a topic. There's so much to focus on, right? So are there any questions?
Andrea, I want to say thank you. I think you did a great job. I think our favorite quote here was, "We're in the same storm, but not the same boat." I think that encompasses a lot of what we've all been going through.
Yeah.
I know that we had one person that typed into the chat.
Okay.
I believe it was the nurse from Grand Rapids, but I don't remember what it said. If you'd like to share what your thoughts were on that one, what was it? low carb foods. Read it, Kyle, I can't.
She was talking about how it affected our TBI patients about what they ate.
Mhm.
And up here in the north, low carb foods were almost they just were what's the word I'm trying? Non-existent. They were just gone off the shelf.
Yeah,
And it affected blood sugars and it affected mood, and it did affect them a lot.
really? So you saw that based on what groceries were available at the store?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. They were
That is-
having to eat regular carb foods, and it threw off their balance, their numbers, their insulins,
Wow.
so yeah, it did affect them.
Yeah, when I look at mental health, sleep, nutrition, movement, and some sort of reflection practice and gratitude. Sorry, I always forget that one. Those are really the key components on how we're thriving. And it's pretty basic. But I think it's pretty cool that they are willing, because a lot of people I work with aren't necessarily willing to change diet. And so I think that showing how it impacted is a pretty cool example for them. Pretty good reason to keep trying to be better at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of think too of that idea of nutrition. I'm rambling here, but with how we spend our time. Are we doing things that are nutritious, right? Are they feeding our body? Are they feeding our soul? And I think TV doesn't. Although I will admit every once in a while, I like to binge watch The Office. It happens. So, but it's not healthy. Maybe it is, but not for hours. So, yeah. What other questions or thoughts? Did you guys, I know this is a strange format, but were you able to somewhat connect with the loving kindness meditation? Was that an easier thing to do?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think it was definitely gives you a little touch of what's available out there. And you've got a difficult format, because we were talking before the meeting started how it's almost harder to do these virtually because you can't read the crowd. You can't,
Right.
you know.
Well, it was nice to kind of see who was here beforehand, and knowing that. So that was perfect for reading the crowd. So thank you for letting me visit the networking portion.
Absolutely. And you guys, we're gonna stay on for another 15, 20 minutes, unless everybody stops and gets off, then we'll get off. But so if anybody wants to chat, network, ask questions, anything like that, this is a time that normally when we're in person, we're able to do that. And so we want to make sure that we still have that networking aspect of our meetings, because that's always been an important part of it. I know I was always one of the last ones to leave the room. Of course, shutting me up has always been difficult. So shut up, Kyle. if there's anything that anybody wanted to ask or discuss, it's kind of open forum, unmute your mic, chat away. Other than that, anyone who wants to pop off, thank you so much for joining us. Our next meeting will be in January. We will, keep an eye on the website, and don't forget to
Go to the website and fill out the form, and I will send you a CBAS point for today.
what he said. Okay, so like I said, y'all can pop off. You can stay on and talk, whatever works for you. Tammy, love you, miss you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
I love that quote. I just keep thinking we're all in the same storm in a different boat, but we're all rowing like crazy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we all have stressors. There's not one person that's not been impacted.
Absolutely. And Andrea, I know I've heard your name a lot. And so it's nice to actually, hear you present and be able to see your face. And I think you did a great job in a difficult way to present. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'll pop off and let you guys have your networking. So cheers.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Anybody?
Tammy's getting on. Yes, darling. Oh, nope. She just went away from me. Kathleen, did you want to introduce yourself?
I saw that she was on here. It's like, oh, she finally joined us. Good to see her, sort of.
Oh, she's muted.
Kathleen, I think you should unmute and introduce yourself. We've got at least a half an hour. Nope.
When you were talking about October 2021, do we have a specific date in mind or just?
We do, and it's actually reserved, but I don't have it right in front of me. And I haven't figured out how to get my AdvisaCare emails on my phone yet. And we're talking on my computer that has my AdvisaCare emails. I want to
22nd.
Yeah.
October 22nd, 2021.
All right. Make sure I get that. Because you know what? It's going to be then before we know it. So
I know. And I think that Dawn has been like super duper busy because she's got a senior this year. And so that's why she wasn't able to join the meeting tonight, is because there was some senior night activities that delivering apples or something. I don't know. And I think that once things slow down a little bit for her, then we'll be able to get that conference planning committee going and go from there. Because we definitely need to be moving on it, but we need to get some ideas for topics as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, and I was looking at the survey that we did. Was that 2 months ago that we did the survey about topics that you'd like to see for future meetings?
I think so. That was the one Jenna did.
Yeah. And, you know, so there were a couple of thoughts on there that I was looking at for future meetings. So
well, that's a good way to use it.
Yeah, yeah. But there might be something on there that you can consider for our symposium as well.
Yeah, and we've always kind of had like a theme throughout most of the day, and that's been kind of nice because the speakers have gone off of each other, you know, kind of like so-and-so said, and brought it through that whole thread. I just don't know. I mean, let's not talk about COVID.
Right.
That's my hope. Hopefully we're doing in person by that time and we're not talking about COVID. But I'm sure Amy has wonderful ideas because she always does. I still feel like Steve and I are like news anchors or something.
And the weather today.
And we match, yes. Wasn't even planned. But with this darn microphone here, it feels like it's a news setting or something. It's weird, but anything else anybody wants to talk about?
I just want to say thank you. And it's been a long time since I have been able to attend. We did do the corporate sponsor thing so that Tracy and I could both be in the group. So, but we just want to thank you guys, and it's been great information, and we know what group to come to when we have some problems.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. It's a great networking group, and it always has been. So we've been blessed to have this. I remember when they were just little tiny meetings at Pine Rest in a back room.
All right.
Well, thank you guys. Doesn't really sound like more topics. I know at least.
We're ready to go. I'm leaving.
All right. Bye, Lee.
A long, long day. Thanks.
Yes.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us, Lee and Tracy.
Thank you.
Sandy, did you have anything else, darling?
No. I think
glad to be home.
I just, yeah. I'm just glad we're finally figuring this out so that we can at least meet, even if we have to do it this way.
Yeah. And Tim, thank you for your legislative update. That was very informative and really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all. Happy to do it.
All right. You have a good night, and I hope you don't mind me throwing your email. Don't you dare. I hope you don't mind me throwing your email out there.
No, anytime, anything I can do to help get people the information they need, just let me know.
Wonderful. And if you need anything, just reach out, okay?
Will do. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
So Kathleen, you're still on. Aren't you going to introduce yourself?
She's been awful quiet. Did she fall asleep? Kathleen?
She said it was going to take her an hour to introduce herself. So I thought I'd give her the opportunity. We don't know who she is. She's texting you instead. She's texting Kyle instead of talking to us as a group. Shame on her. Kathleen, we're ashamed of you. Actually, Kathleen, we miss you and we want to go out for a drink, but that's a different story. All right. If nobody else has anything, we'll sign off now. You guys have a great night. Steve, I'm glad you could join us. And sorry, I kept wrong, Steve, you're always here. Sorry, I kept thinking that Tim Hosty was Todd, but they do look a little alike. So y'all have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Signing off.